Teabag, what it do? Okay. What questions do you have for me?
So the first question is, if everyone on Earth had their basic needs met, do you believe there would still be conflict?
Absolutely. Conflict is not due to an absence of needs not being met. Conflict is almost as natural as breathing. No matter what people have, even in abundance, we'll always find something to have a disagreement about or get into it about. Our incentives compete. What you may value and what another person may value will never be the same all the time, and that's going to cause conflict. Japan fears Russia doing something, so they prepare for conflict. Just a hypothetical example. Fear is too much of a driving factor of another discipline. Well, how bad we want it to.
Alright. Can two completely opposite beliefs both contain truth?
All the time. That's the problem with humans nowadays. People assume that multiple truths cannot exist at the same time, and they can. Even amongst religion, political views, extremist ideals, a lot of times the opposite end of the spectrums, they tend to hold the same inherent values. They just go about handling them two different ways. In fact, most religions agree about similar things. Check it.
Thankfully.
Most religions have the same basis for similar things. What up, Wimmer? Oh, Warner? Yeah, multiple truths exist all the time.
Is free will real, or is every choice determined by biology and experience?
Free will is definitely 100% real. Biology, so humans are strange. We ain't just driven by instinct. We can override this shit. We may have biological drivers inside of us, but that doesn't mean we're absent of free will. People assume free will is running naked through Walmart. That's a poor example of it. Free will is learning how to restrain yourself from doing stupid shit. Now, are there constraints? Yes. But you got people that need to ask themselves more times than not, if laws and order did not exist, would I still operate carelessly with my free will?
Most people would.
Because if you do that, 9 times out of 10, your behavior is going to become destructive to you and the people around you. But yeah, it's definitely a real thing. Some would argue we have too much of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe we have too much of it?
No. I believe as a whole, humanity is just definitely immature. And we got a lot of powerful shit we ain't got no business with too early.
Mm-hmm.
So we playing catch up. playing catch up. Our brains, our brains are playing catch up to the technology that we have.
Okay. Speaking of technology, if an AI perfectly copied your mind, would you say that it would technically be you?
No, AI can never be another individual simply because where would you get consciousness from? That's what separates us from animals, insects, I mean, among other things. But even through with cloning, um, virtual creations, this, that, and the third, without consciousness, you can't call it human. Artificial insemination produces consciousness because the birth comes through the woman, but it cannot fully replace you. Even if that became a thing, it'll just copy your brain, but it can't copy what people consider the soul or the spirit. Now, if it can do that, then we got a problem, because that means that it learned where the source of consciousness came from, and that's been one of the greatest questions of humanity for a long time. Where does the part that makes you you come from? How do you know that? How do you know that you when you wake up every day and you look in the mirror and you see yourself and you feel all these feelings and you have these thoughts and shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
That's conscious. AI can't produce that. Not at all.
How can you know if your perception of reality is real?
You can't. Pain is about as close as you can get to being able to tell if reality is real or not. Now, if you want to take it a little bit higher on the surface, it's rare that two people experience the same event the exact same way. It's almost impossible because we filter life through too many different lenses. Uh, Eyesight, hearing, all that trauma can play a different role in how you see the world. Like, the short answer is you don't know. It's hard to know. We could all be living in a hallucination or motherfucking virtual reality. We really could. But like I've said before, chop your leg off. See how virtual it is then. If it is a hallucination or simulation or not real reality. Or quit a job. Stop paying the power bill.
See how long it lasts.
Stop paying rent. Don't put gas in your car. It's several things that you can do to test whether or not reality as you see it and feel it is real. You can do a lot of things. I don't recommend that a person shoots for the greatest consequential thing in the world. But hey, if you truly believe that the world itself is not real and you are in a hallucination, there are ways to find out. I swear to God.
You said, by all means, go ahead and test it. Do emotions reveal truth or distort it?
Oftentimes, distortion. Emotion removes all logic. And humans overall are emotional creatures, man or woman. It don't matter. Both genders can be victims of their emotions. But you shouldn't become a slave to it.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't invalidate the feeling. I would oftentimes examine why the feeling happens in the first place. Most of the time, it's fear. Most of the time, it's fear.
Yeah, estimate where it comes from.
Mm-hmm. I don't mean emotions are bad. They help us love and be compassionate and show mercy and shit like that. But they can be problematic if a person leans too much into them. That's where stoicism comes in. And everybody needs to learn a little bit of stoicism. Oftentimes these days we lean into women are more emotional, therefore it's okay. No, I don't believe it is. Everybody needs to operate in a certain level of logic these days. The world has changed and it's still changing. In New York, they trying to remove the words mother and father from common speak.
Oh my God.
And it's actually a law that's on the table that's getting ready to be decided on by the governor of the state.
Oh my God.
Instead, it'll be a gestating parent and non-gestating parent.
Take the emotion out of it.
More is it's a push to make that type of language more gender neutral. It's a leftist woke type of thing.
Oh.
Here's the thing about that though. There's nothing wrong with the identity that you choose as long as it does not harm the harmless. Those who have no choice in what you've chosen. Damn, that's a mouthful. You can be whoever the fuck you want to be. The problem is when you try to force it onto people like they doing now
Mhm.
with that law. And now it's not a national thing that's been brought to the White House, but it could spread if more states try to adopt it just to keep citizens or make people happy. And again, it's not inherently bad, but I think it's a stupid ass law. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's completely unnecessary. You, as an adult, can be whoever you want to be by all means. But the moment you try to force everybody to adopt a ideology or language that they do not agree with, you are going to get resistance.
Conflict.
Like all of this began from merely sexual preferences, not necessarily ideological values. All of it. The homosexuality, the trans, that whole community, it was birthed from a sexual preference, not principles and values. Whatever principles and values they have came after. But this was purely sexual.
Because you've seen something that you wanted.
That's what you prefer behind closed doors.
Mhm.
But as an adult, you would like to be who you are truthfully on the outside. So then you get the coming out the closet stuff.
Mhm.
And it was really bad in the 80s, I believe. There were hate crimes against gay people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With that's fucked up. Nobody should be harmed for their sexual preference. But now it's almost like a reverse with words and ideology and laws. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That shit becomes permanent. So we gotta. I got 40 genomes. Nice. People start to draw the line when the kids get fucked with.
Yeah.
Because now you'll start to have millions upon millions of kids no longer saying mom and dad.
Because of the law.
That's strange, isn't it? Thousands of years. Mom, pa, papa, mama, mommy, daddy, dada, mama, father, mother. That has been common speak across the globe. And now you want to change that due to what? Emotions. There's no logic behind it. They can write up the bill with all the dictionary terms and politically correct terms in the world, but there's no logic behind that law.
That kind of goes back to the question, if all needs were met, would there still be conflict? I believe that there's going to be new needs that are going to have to be met every single time. They're going to come up with something new.
Yes, most people will.
Mhm.
Then you got to determine, okay, what needs are we speaking of? Exactly. Beyond food, shelter, and water.
Mhm.
Security.
Basic needs to live.
Beyond that, if you ask me,
at this point, these are just wants.
Most of humanity's basic needs are met unless they live in a nation that directly constrains that shit. Or you have the unfortunate timing to be born in a place where those resources lack. Right? I bring these people up all the time. The Sentinelese people have survived for a very long time without any technology. They have none. They don't have TVs, none of that shit. They still living. It's still small pockets around the globe who are small tribes, and they still live as hunter gatherers without any technology, and they survive.
Isolated islands.
They find water. They get their own food, grow it, hunt for it. So it's possible. We really don't need none of this shit. For real. If you strip away the nonsense, we won't need this PC, these cameras, these phones, the vehicles, none of it. For real. It's nice to have AC, climate control, and all that shit. But we don't need this shit to live. We survived for hundreds of thousands of years without it. So you got to follow that shit all the way through to the end. Whatever thoughts you have, conspiracies, questions, and when you get to the conclusion, okay, test that conclusion. Don't always settle for the first conclusion. Most people settle for the first conclusion because it's comfortable. Fuck that.
You gotta keep testing.
You got to. That's the only way you're gonna get to somewhat semblance of the truth. Because nobody has the complete answer. Not a single soul. We all just winging it with the best information that we have at the time.
True.
So, juggle it a little bit, figure it out, take a stance, and live by it. I try to balance. What's up? Pause. There's not a name there. It's just pictures of pause. My philosophy is balance. One of the many. Gotta have balance.
Very important to have balance in your life.
The world is out of balance right now.
Very out of balance.
It's out of balance. That's the problem. Veyros Fuego 198. What's going on? I cannot talk. See, I'm getting people to stop. I know what I gotta do. Okay, say no more. Because see, when I started talking about the extreme issues, the real shit, motherfuckers start popping into the TikTok live. They ain't staying, but they popping in. Like good. I mean, because I have no problem taking it there. And voicing my opinions on what I believe in. Some people may think I take a position of neutrality. And on a lot of issues, I do. I don't believe in radical extremism. It's poisonous for humanity as a whole.
True.
any too much to one side is bad for us. Don't matter what the fuck it is. Will you be red or blue state? For or against LGBT, whatever. For or against the wars that are currently going on. For or against whatever the fuck. Extremism is bad. It's been proven throughout history. And sometimes the extremists win. But it don't last very long.
And it ain't necessarily good either.
Yeah, it's almost never good. You can't keep the world out of balance for too long. Hitler tried that. World out of balance. He lost. Slavery tried that. World out of balance. It got ended. The Mongols, fucking ancient Mesopotamia, Egypt, you name it. With that extreme shit, nothing good comes from it. Don't last too long.
Being greedy don't get you.
Reality is messy. It tends to operate somewhere more in the middle and everything. Fun fact. For the longest time, we thought the Neanderthal species were barbarians. They may have been smarter than us. Their brains were bigger than Homo sapiens.
Oh my goodness.
The reason Homo sapien DNA is so dominant across the globe is because there were more of us, and we absorbed the other species of humans. There were more species of humans than just us that existed at the same time. They just recently discovered one in 2010 called the Denisovians from a bone, one finger bone they found in a cave, Siberia, a girl. Most of the eastern hemisphere of the world, they could have about 1 to 4% of Denisovian DNA. And on this side, we can have about 1 to 4% Neanderthal DNA. So when people say Neanderthals were barbarians, they talk about themselves. It's actually more plausible that the Homo sapiens were the barbarians. It's more plausible that the Homo sapiens, that our dominant DNA was more conflict-driven and violent than the Denisovians or the Neanderthals, because we migrated in droves consistently from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thought was that everything started in Africa. That's what my people get the idea that the world started in Africa. No, it was kind of. I mean, if you go back to Pangea and shit like that. But Neanderthals was in Europe and shit, and the Denisovians was in Asia, Oceania. And migration started to happen. The Homo sapiens, we were designed to go long distances.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how we got most of our hunting done. Being able to track and go long distances. And then we started to spread out. Mm-hmm. And we just kept coming. Then interbreeding happened. And then slowly but surely, Neanderthals and Denisovians and other species of humans started to disappear, or previous species of humans died off due simply to competition, resource constraints, lack of reproduction, disease, etc. It wasn't necessarily one group and the other group fought and they killed each other off. No, it was a compilation of things that occurred over time. It was a compilation of things. But yeah, so anybody telling you that Neanderthals were barbarians, because a lot of people try to use that to point the world's problems at the Europeans. Bless you. The world's problems existed long before Europe was a thing. Way before Europe was a thing. As long as humans exist, the world will always have problems. This is just a fucking fact. We are the most creative and destructive force on the planet. I researched it. I was like, how do insects experience humanity? And it said that insects experience humanity as catastrophic events.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah.
To them, we are like a earthquake or tornado or hurricane.
It's kind of sad to think about.
Even in the animal kingdom, we confused the shit out of them. One minute, lion was eating a person. Next thing you know, person wearing lion skin. Lion like, what the fuck? Lion confused. They did an experiment where they played human voices near a cougar after it had just got a kill, and cougar left his fresh kill. That's how terrified the animal kingdom is of humans. So when they attack us and shit like that, it's usually due to not knowing what we are at the moment. Like if you're in the ocean, a shark can't really tell the difference between you being a fish or a person, being other than maybe smell a little bit. Hey Rita, but a lot of times they attack us out of defense. They don't have reasoning capabilities like that. That's why like a lot of insects are poisonous and venomous. Imagine how you look to a fucking spider.
Terrifying.
Think about that. Imagine how you look to an ant, even if they can perceive your face, because they might not even be looking up. All they see is a shoe or a toe.
The sole of their shoe.
May not even be a toe, maybe a piece of skin.
They say, whoa.
You know what I mean? I think. I think the problem is people have pushed for too many socialist reforms when the government was never designed to take care of you. It was to keep order and protect you. Keeping internal order protects you from outside chaos. The rest of that shit was supposed to be up to you. How you eat, how you get your job, work, take care of yourself, your family, that was supposed to be up to you. But over time, the more demands that we ask from the government, okay, the government need money to pay that. Where the money gonna come from? The people. Every time you tell the government to create a new socialist policy, you give them more and more power. The more and more power you give them for these socialist reforms, the more money they need to execute these socialist reforms. The more money and power you give them, the more slowly over time, because they have to control who gets what, who can't get what's the rules behind it, the stipulations, what happens if someone takes too much, what happens if someone hoards. You start to slowly slip into authoritarianism and a little bit of, I don't say communism because communism says that everything belongs to the people, but you start to give the government more and more control. That's why everybody mad. We ask for this shit. We be the ones asking the government to do all this stuff, or a large portion of the population, and then when they implement them, now we mad because things ain't how they should be. Well, it's because we don't think about what we be asking for at the time. We just be wanting immediate solutions in the moment. We won't think about the consequences down the line. Most presidents and shit like that, they dealing with consequences from shit that happened 10, 20 years ago. It'd be delayed. It's usually delayed by like a decade.
So we're trying to catch up.
The shit that, and this is not saying I'm a fan or dislike him. It's either or. He's just a guy to me. I don't fucking know him. But Trump is dealing with a lot of shit from Obama's administration. It always about a decade later when the consequences of whatever that administration implemented starts to show up. That's what we kind of dealing with now. And we victims of our own growth. I think America has produced more millionaires and billionaires within the last decade than anywhere else on the planet. we have a growth issue because you get 10 millionaires happening at the same time. Where that money coming from? Okay, so the Fed got to make more money. They got to put more money into circulation. When the Fed put more money into circulation, inflation occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation is a natural occurrence of growth. It's not necessarily a bad thing because you don't want deflation. You don't want things to drop to the value of almost nothing. It's gonna always be a constant tug and pull, constant tug of war. As we grow, I personally believe that inflation it ain't always good if it happens too fast, but inflation is a sign that the economy has grown somewhere.
Yeah.
But now it's teetering towards the point of too high because wages haven't necessarily caught up. And that's because our economy puts precedent on capital and where you can extract value from, and it's not labor. It's skill. Is that fair? Absolutely not. But it's what we have.
Yep.
It's the only. It sucks. People hate this. Okay, we have capitalism with like variations. It's not completely capitalist, but it is free market. But we have socialist policies. Like everything now is like a culmination of, even across the globe, except like I want to say North Korea or some shit like that. Even China, they have a form of capitalism. It's just not free market capitalism. It's more authoritative, where the Chinese government is more involved in the system than American government is. But essentially, two sides of the same coin, right? But it's the only system that it allows humans to be human. We naturally like to compete.
Without killing each other.
That's the purpose of like football, basketball, Olympics. Instead of us beating each other to death,
putting each other in the ring.
You know what I mean? We do sports competitions and shit like that, or intelligence competitions, debates, what they call those academic teams. You see what I'm saying? We just changed the form of competition, but competition ain't going nowhere. We human. A lot of times, because how far we've come, we forget where we came from and how deep our instincts still exist. That shit really hadn't gone nowhere. Relatively speaking, we are still a very young species. Very, very young. We are not that old. Our technology makes us think that we are an older species than we are, but it is so far from the truth.
The technology ain't even know that. Oh.
The technology, when you zoom out, the tech that we have today it's damn near like magic. And a lot of people say magic is simply technology we don't understand, science that we don't understand yet. But it's like magic. You got first of all, when you're supposed to have this level of connection across the globe that we have today, when you're supposed to know the world's problems 24/7, the brain can't tell the difference in the proximity of that. So it keeps you in a constant threat mode. Hey, Mari, hey, it's just Mika. It keeps you in a constant threat mode. Is there a way out of it? It's gonna be hard. Some people disagree with me, but it is what it is. This is just how I see it from what I've observed and just kind of walking my way through life. The only way to, if we want utopian peace and everything to be perfect, hypothetically speaking, you have to remove human free will. You have to remove human free will. Now, to do it without human free will, okay, first, Everybody has to agree on what they want and don't want. You can't get motherfuckers to agree for more than 5 seconds today. As soon as they agree on one issue, another one pops up to divide them again.
Mm-hmm.
2, we got to move past this color shit. That's the most basic difference amongst humans in this world. And it's all due to UV light. It ain't got nothing to do with God, none of that other shit. We gotta get past that. Cause it's that right there alone is goofy enough. Across the globe, with the exception of just 0.1% of a DNA difference can be what makes you have yellow eyes and an Asian person have slanted blue eyes or some shit like that. Just making an example. But other than that, we share 99.9% of the same DNA structure. No matter the skin color, your hair color, your eye color, disabilities, all that shit. Even disabilities, mental disabilities, physical deformities and shit, that comes from a mutation in DNA. It might be missing a strain or something, or a piece of the genetic code is broken, or it got mixed up somewhere, whatever the case may be. Say it all that to say, we all share that same DNA. We all pretty much the same motherfuckers. Third, we the people have the power. We got to stop running to the government anytime something scares us. Every time you run to the motherfuckers asking them for something, you are unintentionally asking for a consequence that you did not sign up for, and you're giving them more and more power. And they gonna exercise their power. Now we mad. Prime example, 9/11, and I thought this for the longest time. I thought it was a conspiracy. I watched the videos that said the steel beams couldn't melt like that, and how the fuck can somebody with a knife take over a plane? And then I grew up. One, what happened was our government failed to secure things properly. At that time, the pilot's cabin didn't have locks on it. We didn't have TSA. We didn't have the extreme measures at airports. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And people weren't looking at Middle Eastern individuals as terrorists at the time necessarily. 2, you got normal everyday citizens just think that they taking a flight or catching a vacation on a plane 30,000 feet in the air, and you get 2, 3, 4 guys. Oh, also air marshals weren't really a thing either. Now air marshals are pretty much on every other flight. You 30,000 feet up in the air, and 2 motherfuckers jump up with knives in their hands saying we're taking over the plane. You are scared. People underestimate how fear works, especially when you already off the ground. Most people are not going to jump up out of their seat and play hero because they don't know what that man is capable of. What if they fuck up and the plane go down and everybody, what if we make a mistake and kick the door open? People were scared. So what, they had knives. Knives still kill.
And can't even go nowhere.
Now, the engineering thing. No, jet fuel is not hot enough to melt steel. However, the World Trade Center was a massive office building full of combustible material. Computers, paper, wooden desks, you fucking name it. That makes the planes hotter. The steel does not need to melt. It just needs to weaken. So that structural weakness is what causes the buildings to topple over. And then you got a second plane coming. World Trade Center gone. It don't take a conspiracy theory to do that. It wasn't employed by the government to make Americans scared. No, that shit really happened. But did the government capitalize on that crisis and use it to their advantage like most politicians do? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course.
They use it to implement mass surveillance. They use it to implement TSA, Homeland Security.
So they can put more eyes on us.
They don't need a conspiracy just to implement no shit. All it takes is a little bit of fear and a large pocket of people to agree. Boom, policy passed.
Yeah, it don't take much at all.
Mm-hmm. I say that to say, man, we look for villains where they don't exist. I used to do it all the time. And once you get past that point and follow everything to the natural end, you realize that humanity is not as dramatic as we make it out to be. And we are a lot more redundant and boring than we give ourselves credit for. For real.
That's the truth for you right there.
Real talk. Once you learn that, the sky's the fucking limit. But enough about us. Thank you for joining. Mickey, you came in on the tail end and you hung out with me. I sure do appreciate it. Listen to me run my trap. I'm going to get up out of here. It's been an hour. Y'all tap in with me next Sunday.